News Radio 840 WHAS coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show. So what happens if you have a close relative who owes the IRS back taxes? He needs to sell his home, but he can't because of its condition. Will the family be left with the IRS debt if and when the relative passes away? And the shocking truth about your toilet lid: you never will flush the toilet the same way again. Hi, everybody. Bob Sokoler, owner of the Sokoler Team Remax Properties East. Thank you for joining us. Here with us, Lee Harris. She is one of the head folks in legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow. If you have a question about real estate or you need a closing, this is the person to talk to. Lee and her folks. You can reach her on her cell phone, 649-7964. Also, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. You can reach him. He shops the loan with his team. You can reach him directly at 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to help you. There's no home too big or too small. I work both in Louisville, surrounding counties, and southern Indiana. You can reach me on my cell phone at 376-5483. That's 376-LIVE. Or you can go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form, and click submit. And for free analysis of what your home is worth, feel free to go to wesellouisville.com. Click on the top of the page, and then that will give you an instant analysis of what your home. It's an AI computer, but it's a start, and I can help you from there. All right, let's go. Lee Harris, we're going to start with you, and we'll get a lot of emails, but this one came in from one of our listeners, Kathy, and thank you, by the way, Kathy, for listening. And she heard me talk about a couple of weeks ago about folks in the neighborhood who maybe their dogs do their business, and then what ends up happening in this case leaves a brown spot. She said that she's been using a product, and I thought I'd share this with everybody. It's called Grass Saver, and it changes the pH level of your dogs. And I've tried something similar, but it doesn't seem to be working, quite frankly, because I got a lot of spots in the backyard where the dogs are. That she says this works, and it works well. She's available on Amazon and Chewy. So that's Grass Saver. So thank you very much, Kathy, for letting us know and keeping us in the loop.
Public service announcement.
A public service announcement for anybody who has dogs in either your yard, or especially if you're walking your dog, your neighbors will appreciate the fact that you're using that stuff. I'll let you know. I'm going to switch over to it, and I'll let you know how that comes about. Samantha called me this week with a serious problem. She lives in another part of the country. Her brother lives here in Louisville. He's got dementia and more than a $60,000 IRS lien on the house he owns here in Louisville, Lee Harris, over at Limestone. And Samantha says she needs to sell, or he needs to sell the house, but it may not be worth a whole lot of money. She's worried about the house being worth enough to pay off the tax lien. And she's wondering, then, is there a state tax, Kentucky tax as well, that would be owed? And she's wondering if the brother walks away from the house, will her siblings be saddled with the IRS debt in the event of his death? So she's just looking for some advice that maybe it might be helpful. Lee?
Sure. Sorry about that, Samantha. That's a hard thing to go through. But so believe it or not, the IRS and the Kentucky Department of Revenue are pretty amenable to negotiating that type of thing, particularly if they're going to get some pennies on the dollar rather than nothing. And so if you get an assessment of how much this house is worth, and let's say he owes $60,000 and the house is worth $50,000 or whatnot, the IRS and if he owes tax lien, if he owes state tax, that would also be in the title search. They will probably be willing to negotiate to whatever amount can be paid off, and then release those liens, because it doesn't really help them to have a lien on a property that, and not be able to get any of their money back. So if he walks away, quote unquote, I guess, from the house, if there's a mortgage, it'll be foreclosed on. And at that point, all those liens will be taken care of through the foreclosure process. If that property is left to the estate would owe the whatever taxes and whatever liens are due, and then could get the heirs, the siblings could get the profits, or whatever is left over, if anything.
But if there is nothing left over, in fact, there's a deficit, do the heirs have to pay that deficit off for the brother?
No.
No. A reminder, if you hear something or want to just see and hear the show again, you can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That is LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's a redirect to our YouTube channel, where this video and other videos that we've been doing for years reside. Again, LouisvilleAnswers.com. Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. Margaret sent us an email. She says she is a first-time buyer, home buyer, and in the email she asks, how much can she afford to borrow for a mortgage? So what's the times your income? What's that all about
Yeah.
these
So
days? Yeah.
if your gross income, let's say it's 60,000 a year gross, and that's 5,000 a month, all your bills combined, monthly payments you would want to stay 50% or less. We can go a little higher than that, Bob, but most of the time you want to stay 50% or less, which would be $2,500 a month with all monthly payments.
All right. We will move on. And a reminder that we have a moving truck that is free to all of our clients, potential clients. We actually just had it serviced, and so I'm happy to let you know it's back in action. If you'd like to reserve it as a client, past client, future client, and give my office manager, Lisa, a call, 992-4137. Lee Harris, Limestone Title. Donnie sent us this email. He's looking to buy a house, and the first agent he contacted told him he had to sign a showing agreement to see the house that he was interested in. So he made an appointment, but then he called around and he spoke to another agent who said, oh, no, you don't have to sign an agreement with me. I'll just show you the house. So he canceled the appointment with the first agent and then went to see the house with the second agent, and eventually he bought the house. Donnie is asking, what is going on with the showing agreements? Why do some agents require a showing agreement that they sign them, and then other agents don't require them a signature on that form? Lee, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, that's a very good question, Donnie. And it's something that's happened in the real estate industry in about the last year, starting last fall of 2024. The rules have changed. I don't know if it's widely publicized that there was a lot of lawsuits going on, class action lawsuits involving the National Association of Realtors and sellers. And they ultimately came up to a settlement in which it was agreed that the seller's agent's fee and the buyer's agent's fee would essentially be sort of split apart, rather than historically they've kind of been one lump sum that's shared. And as part of that settlement as well, the rules came out that anybody who is a realtor, so they're a member of the National Association of Realtors or the local Association of Realtors, must get a signature on a buyer agency agreement of some sort before they can show a property. So the agent who told you that that was required is correct, and the one who told you it wasn't, it was not correct.
Yeah, so let's go to the one who didn't have the Donnie sign. Mm-hmm. Is he or she in trouble?
Well, it's in violation of their rules of their association, so they could be fined by that association. Ultimately, I think they give them 2 or 3 chances that the fines go up, and then on the third or fourth chance, they are what's called the MLS, which is the multiple listing service. The Realtor Association can take away their membership of that, and that's a big deal to an agent.
Yeah.
So it's just really what the board and is going to do to their membership. It's not necessarily a civil or a criminal matter.
A reminder, if you'd like to see what buyers and sellers are saying about us, we made this very easy. If you would like to go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com, you'll see our reviews. We are very proud of them, and we hope you get a chance to take a look and review. Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. Landy asks in this email, what are the best mortgage options for a first-time home buyer? So let's review what those options are, Randy.
So you can do a zero money down with a no repayment on the second mortgage, which is 3.5% down. That it has a really great rate. The 1% down, 2% grant, it has income restrictions in Louisville. You cannot make more than $72,000. And then you can just go your normal VA, FHA, conventional. So you're anything from 0% down up to whatever you would like to put down, 20% and higher.
Lee Harris, Limestone Title. Tony sent us this email about doing some repair work on his neighbor's home. Apparently, the neighbor had noticed Tony's house was in great shape, and so the neighbor said, hey, would you do some work on my house? A couple of things. And he said neighbor was planning on selling his house. So Tony agreed. They agreed on a price. He did the work. The neighbor put the house on the market, sold within a couple of weeks, and the neighbor has now moved out and hasn't paid Tony.
Oh, okay.
Tony is saying, well, what are his options at this point? And this is a good point for anybody who's doing work or wants to do work. What should you do?
Well, I hope that the property has not closed yet, because if the property has not closed yet, you're in luck, which means you could go and place what's called a mechanics lien. Anybody who does, plumbing, subcontracting, engineering, all kinds of services as a vendor for an owner, basically can have a mechanics lien that will be placed against the title of the property, so that when it does sell, if he owes you this money, then it will have to be paid to you before the title can be cleared, and before the new buyer can purchase. If it's already closed, then you're in a little bit less of a good position. He still owes you the money, of course, but you're going to have to now go through, depending on how much it is. If it's $2,500 or less, you'll go to small claims court. If it's more than $2,500, you'll go to either district or circuit court and obtain that through your contract. It was either a verbal or a written contract for the amount that he owed you.
The key point here, tell me if I'm wrong, is being able to find this neighbor.
Yes.
Right? I mean, there might be a forwarding address,
Yeah.
which you would hope.
Yes.
Is there anything shortcut for that?
Yeah. Well, one thing you could do is, and you can call me, I'll be happy to help you, or you can go on Jefferson County Clerk website, and you could pull up the deed. And in that deed, if he has purchased another house in this county, it will show the mailing address for the current taxes. So it will show you where he lives now in the deed. And that's public record. So that's an easy way to sort of do your own little investigation.
Just a reminder for you folks, if you are thinking of selling your home, we have a free, no obligation booklet that has hundreds of tips. It's worthwhile. It's free. Free. We love free. Send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com. Put free tips in the subject line, free moving tips, selling tips, and I'll send it right out to you via email. We're going to take a break. When we come back, this is an interesting subject, not one that we take on lightly. It's the shocking truth about toilet lids, and why you're not going to flush the same after I read this to you. When we come back, we'll continue with Lee Harris, who is legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow, and you can reach her for closings and a variety of legal work. As we've been listening, you know what I'm talking about. 649-7964. Also, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, they actually go out there and shop the loan to get you the very best price for your mortgage. You can reach Randy at 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling your home or even buying a home, I have a team of 10 agents, but if you're selling, it's me. I'm coming out. We talk. It's a free, no obligation analysis. We can talk as long as you want. If you like what you hear, we can go forward. If you don't like, you say, Bob, here's the door. Don't let it hit you. Yeah, that's right. You can reach me on my cell phone anytime, 376-5483. That's 376 live. You can go to bobsellslouisville.com and then just fill out the form and hit submit. And for a free no obligation analysis of what your home is worth, you can go to wesellouisville.com. Click on the top of the page, fill out the form. You'll get an almost instant analysis via computer as to what your home is worth. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show. Thank you, Barbara Corcoran, so much. We appreciate your mentorship. You can see Barbara on Shark Tank, and she's endorses us, has been for 10 or so years, so we really appreciate that. And listen, we all use them, the bathrooms, and then we worry, close the toilet lid. Maybe we don't. What should we do? Well, closing the toilet lid, according to the research, before flushing, does help reduce the spread of germs, though it is not 100% effective. When you flush, the force of the water sends a spray of teeny droplets called toilet plume into the air. The droplets contain bacteria, viruses, other microorganisms from the bowl. Research shows that these particulates can travel several feet, settle on surrounding surfaces like countertops, toothbrushes, and towels. By closing the lid before flushing, you create a barrier that significantly reduces the amount of particles being released. However, because toilet lids are not airtight, some particles can still escape through small gaps. So the bottom line is, closing the lid is quick. Hygiene is a great habit. It can help lower the risk of spreading germs, especially if someone in the household is sick. Pairing this with regular bathroom cleaning and hand washing further improves protection. And a little aside, as a realtor, I will tell you, that is why in many homes, having a water closet that is for that purpose, and closing that door and flushing, and then once done, opening that door, it helps minimize contamination. So just some things to think about. I know it's Sunday morning, but it's an important, rightly. I mean, there are some things we have to talk about because it's important for safety. Yeah.
It's life.
All right, we move forward to Lee Harris Limestone title. Renee recently changed her name when she got married. Renee and her new husband, congratulations, Ray, live in Renee's house that she's had for more than 10 years. And in this email, Renee is saying, well, she's thinking of selling next year, but she's wondering what she needs to do about updating the names on the deed to reflect her new name. What are your thoughts about that, Lee?
Okay. So, one thing you could do is if you want your spouse to also be on title with you now, you could just do a quitclaim deed in which you add yourself, aka your former name, and his name, and as a married couple. And then when you sell it, that's how you will pass title. You could also just do a quitclaim deed to add yourself only to change your name. So it would be Renee, new name, aka your former name. You don't really 1000% have to do it before you sell because it will all be taken care of at the closing. But if you'd like to do it now, it's very simple. It will probably be a $55 filing fee and maybe $100 or so for the deed to be drafted.
A reminder, though, because we get a lot of information out to the public. Sometimes it may go right past you because you may be on the way to church and maybe doing something else, working in the yard, who knows. If you go to, just remember this, LouisvilleAnswers.com, LouisvilleAnswers.com. Randy Rocky Swan Financial Dean is writing in. He says, why is my friend getting a lower interest rate than me? This is Dean talking. I know there are a lot of factors involved in this, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yes. It could depend on the lender they're using. It could depend on credit score. It could depend on the product, if it's conventional, FHA, etc. And how much money they're putting down on that house. And also when you lock. When you lock right now is very important. Rates have really been very volatile. So there are a number of factors that go into play. In my opinion, the best way to go is use a broker over because we go out and shop your rate and get you the best deal. But there are many scenarios that make up why interest rate will be higher. His friend has a higher interest rate than his friend.
Yeah, I don't think there's one simple answer for that either.
No.
If you'd like to sign up for our newest newsletter, this week's topic, by the way, don't fall for those home selling myths. Go to WeSupportLouisville.com, WeSupportLouisville.com. Moving on, Lee Harris, Limestone title. Rachel sent us this email. She says, I signed a lease with a friend of mine for an apartment 6 months ago. Then about 3 months ago, she says, my friend moved in with her boyfriend and left many of her things in the apartment. You know, this does sound like a Judge Judy case, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does, yeah.
My mother-in-law, wife LaDonna, and I are kind of hooked on that show. We record it and then we play them back, scan through the commercials, and we watch a lot of the shows, and we just are amazed at what.
My husband and I actually watch it too.
Do you really?
Yeah. It's our like relaxation at the end of a hard day.
Yeah, but I think she stopped recording because then she had a new show that was out on one of the network, other cable channels or something, and then I think she stopped. She's basically retired, which is a shame.
Yeah, no, those shows are funny.
You know, Lee, they might be looking for.
Oh, I could be the
Judge Lee.
That'd be awesome. It could be Lawyer Lee.
Lawyer Lee.
Yes.
And then give advice. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so mother-in-law Betty and LaDonna, my wife, and I just sit and watch. You can picture that. It's funny. It's entertaining. Yes. Anyway, so Rachel says the roommate hasn't come back to pick up her things. She says, am I allowed to throw them out after 3 months?
Well, Rachel, that's a great question. Essentially, there is no time frame in Kentucky for how long you would consider a property abandoned, quote unquote. And once property is abandoned, obviously you could get rid of it. That said, I think I would give her notice. I would give her a 7-day notice or something and say, look, I got to get your stuff out of this apartment. You haven't paid rent for 3 months. And, if you don't come pick it up by 7 days from today at 5:00, then I'm going to get rid of it. And I think at that point, you would be perfectly within your rights to do so because you are certainly not a free storage unit once somebody moves out and they're no longer paying. Now, if she's paying rent, then it's like she's there and you would have to keep her stuff. But my assumption from the question is that she's probably not paying at both places. And so she's turned you into basically a storage space, which you don't have to do.
So the bottom line is just toss the stuff out at this point, or is she in trouble if she does?
No, I think she should send her a notice, a specific time frame. If you want to send it registered or certified mail, that's a good idea. Wait till you get the notice that she's received it. Give her a date, maybe 7 days from now at 5 o'clock and say, if you don't, come get it by then, I just, I need the space as my apartment. You got to come get your stuff, or I'm going to give it to Goodwill, or I'm going to, have a yard sale.
No kidding. All
Yeah.
right. Good advice. All right. Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. Brandy has an interesting email question. What signs should, she said, I be looking for to try to anticipate interest rates coming down? This is a really good question. And I'm kind of curious as well. What signs should people be looking for? Because they are starting to come down. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think they're going to come down. I think when we're going to really see a change is when Jerome Powell is no longer the Fed chair.
That's in May next year.
May of next year.
Right.
We will have a drop in interest rates in September. Short-term rates. I think the long-term rates have kind of already played in that factor, but then they're going to continue to come down. So I think prime is going to drop between 1/4 and 1/2 point in September. So we're finally going to get some relief there. And then as time moves on, we'll move down. And I think by middle to end of next year, we're going to really see some rates really drop, which is even more of a reason why, Bob.
Yeah.
I think your team right now should be out selling houses for clients because, again, we know the pent-up demand that happened during COVID.
Right.
You and I have talked about it so many times, and there were multiple offers, 10, 15, 20, 30 offers on a house. And when rates drop again, I really think that's going to happen again. So right now, marry the house, date the rate.
Yeah, and our team is out selling homes. And Brandy,
yes.
So the short answer is watch the Fed. What the Fed does will eventually trickle down to the long-term interest rates. Short-term rates for the Fed, long-term for mortgage, it trickles down.
Yes.
Kelly sent us an email, Lee Harris, Limestone Title. She was going to move into an apartment. She put down a security deposit check. And the day before she was supposed to move in, she noticed black mold and a collapsed partial ceiling. And she didn't move in. She's wondering, can she get her security deposit back?
That's a great question. So it depends on how you dealt with the landlord, I guess. If you and the landlord signed a release of the lease because there was a health concern there and also perhaps a repair concern, then you should be able to get your security deposit back, because security deposit is really for damages that you caused to an apartment. If you've never moved in, then you shouldn't owe any damages for, you haven't had a chance to make any damages to the apartment, right? Some landlords, however, will kind of use that as well, I'll keep your security deposit as sort of my damages for you not moving in. So hopefully they haven't done that. If you could negotiate a release, that would be the best way to deal with it. That way you will know that they're not going to bring any claim against you, and they'll know that you're not going to bring any claim against them.
You got to side with Kelly. I mean, the black mold is walking in to look at the apartment you're going to move into, and then it collapses. I don't think anybody that's listening would want to move in, right?
No.
Yeah.
Hopefully your landlord's reasonable.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, so a quick reminder, folks, just so you know, if you want to see what sellers have said about our Sokoler team, in fact, I interview them at the closing table. I have been. So you can go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com, LouisvilleSellersTalk.com, and you can watch some of the videos and laugh at how things have changed over the number of years that I've been doing this. All right, we have time for one final question on today's show. Taylor is about to list her home in Jefferson County and is reading the real estate contract with the potential seller's agent. So she's going over this and I do this all the time. We sit down, we talk about the contract, we review the different paperwork. And she says in the contract, it states that if the home hasn't sold after, in this case, 6 months, and someone comes back after the contract period to buy it, she still owes the broker money, and she's wondering, what does that mean? I've got a definition, but I think, Lee, let's go for legal on your end.
Sure. So that's called a carryover clause or an extension clause. And basically what it says is if there's different wording in different ones, so you have to read exactly the verbiage. But basically it means that if somebody has seen the house or has negotiated on the house or has that seller's agent their advertising has brought someone into the house during the active time of the listing, and then that person comes back after it expires for however many days are in that blank. It could be 1 day, could be 0 days, could be a year, whatever it might be that you all negotiate, then that fee is still due. However, there usually are also phrases in there that says if you relist with another broker in an exclusive listing, then that carryover clause is cut off.
Yep, and you might be wondering, well, why is that? And by the way, folks, you as a seller, actually the agent would have to prove that the the person that actually bought the house had been there before. It's not that easy to do. But what's the reason it's there is because in some cases, if you're getting towards the end of a listing, the seller says, hey, listen, come back in a couple of weeks and then I'll sell you the home, but you don't have to pay the commissions because we'll be out of contract. So that was a way that attorneys and real estate agents put in there to protect themselves about being paid if they did the marketing work that actually brought the buyer in the first place.
Right.
That's the long and short of it.
Yes, it is.
We are out of time. My thanks to Lee Harris, who is the legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow. They do real estate closings, a variety of other things, and legal work. And Lee is available to both consumers and to us agents on her cell phone. You can reach her at 649-7964. Also, my thanks to Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. They shop the loan to get you the very best rates that are out there, and that's what you want. You can reach Randy and his team at 645-0736. And if you are thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I would love to help you. You can give me a call. No home too big, no home too small. I'll come out free, no obligation. We talk about the process. It's more of an education that I'll answer any questions that you have. You should just basically give me a call at 376-5483. That's 376-LIVE, or go to bobsellslouisville.com and fill out the form and click submit. And for that free no obligation analysis of what your home is worth right now based on AI technology, it's a computer, but it's a start, and I can help you get more detailed. You can go to wesellouisville.com and click on the top of the page. Next week, 11 things you should never do during bad weather or a hurricane here in our area.
Oh.
Have a great Sunday. We'll see you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.